You've probably caught yourself wondering about this. Maybe you saw a picture, heard a rumor, or simply imagined the scenario. The narcissist who destroyed your self-esteem, who manipulated every inch of your reality, is now with someone else, and that other person seems just like them, just as self-centered, just as image-obsessed, just as cold. And the question that arises is inevitable, loaded with a mix of curiosity and fear. What happens when two predators share the same cage? Do they destroy each other in an explosion of fury? Or do they, in a twisted way, find the happiness they could never have with you? Do they understand each other because they speak the same language of manipulation? This doubt is torturous because, deep down, it carries the insecurity that maybe the problem was you, that maybe he just needed someone on his level. Today, we are going to erase that doubt, not with assumptions, but with a clinical and behavioral analysis of what truly happens behind the closed doors of a narcissistic couple. We are going to dissect the anatomy of this relationship, from the turbocharged honeymoon to the silent collapse or the declared war. You will understand why they are attracted to each other, how they operate, and most importantly, why what looks like a power couple on the outside is, in fact, an emotional wasteland on the inside. Prepare to see the gears behind the facade. My name is Lauren Mitchell. My purpose with this channel is to show you that the problem was never you, and more importantly, that you are not alone. To understand this dynamic, we first need to look at the surface, at what they want you to see. When two narcissists meet, the attraction is often instantaneous and magnetic. But make no mistake, it's not love at first sight, it's pattern recognition. Narcissists are obsessed with status, image, and power. When a narcissist meets another, they are not seeing a person. They are seeing a trophy that reflects their own worth. Picture the scene. He is grandiose, charming, the center of attention. She is flawless, seductive, commands the room. They look at each other and see in the other the supreme validation of their own grandiosity. It's as if the narcissist thinks, this person is as incredible as I am, so we deserve to be together. In this initial phase, the love bombing is mutual and intense. But, unlike the love bombing they did with you, where they mirrored your empathy and your dreams, here they mirror each other's arrogance and superficiality. They become the power couple, the couple that posts the most perfect pictures, that frequents the most expensive places, that seems to have a supernatural connection. For outsiders looking in, especially a former partner who was devalued, this is devastating. It seems like they finally found their soulmate. But what is really happening is a commercial transaction of egos. One narcissist validates the other's grandiosity. I am amazing for being with you, and you are amazing for being with me. They feed off this combined energy. It's a strategic alliance. You felt like you were walking on eggshells, right? Trying not to upset them, trying to understand their mood swings. Between two narcissists, in the beginning, there are no broken eggs because there is no emotional depth. The relationship floats on a surface of mutual compliments and exhibitionism. They don't seek intimacy. They seek an audience, and one serves as an audience for the other, while together they seek the world's audience. This phase can last quite a while as long as the external supply, money, status, social attention, continues to flow for both. They function like a business. As long as there is profit, attention, the partnership remains. But remember, their attraction is not to the partner's inner self. The attraction is purely to what the partner represents and what they provide. This is where your confusion begins to dissipate. You were trying to connect hearts. They are just connecting mirrors. And two mirrors, facing each other with nothing in between, reflect only the infinite void. Let's now delve into the first psychological pillar of this relationship, the double mirror and the safety in superficiality. One of the greatest pains you felt was the lack of a real connection. You pleaded for vulnerability, for a moment of truth, and received coldness or manipulation. In the relationship between two narcissists, this demand for vulnerability simply doesn't exist, and that is exactly what makes the relationship, paradoxically, comfortable for them at first. The narcissist is terrified of true intimacy, because intimacy requires them to remove the mask. If they take off the mask, they fear their fragility and shame will be exposed. When they are with an empathic person, they feel constantly threatened by your need to deepen the relationship. You wanted to know who they truly were. That terrified them. Now, imagine them with another narcissist. She doesn't want to know who he truly is. She is not the least bit interested in his weaknesses, fears, or inner child. She is interested in his car, his appearance, in how he makes her look good in pictures. For the narcissist, this is an immense relief. It's a silent pact of non-aggression toward the false persona. I call this transactional intimacy. They share secrets, yes. They may even talk bad about other people together, a favorite activity of narcissistic couples. But they never share genuine pain. They never say, "I'm feeling insecure." They operate in a system of mutual mirroring. One reflects the grandiosity of the other. The somatic narcissist, focused on the body, praises the partner's beauty because it validates their own good taste. The cerebral narcissist, focused on the intellect, praises the partner's intelligence because it confirms that they only associate with the elite. There is no demand for empathy because neither of them has empathy to give. It's like two actors who agree never to break character, even when the curtains close. This explains why these relationships sometimes seem more stable than the one he had with you. It's not because there's more love. It's because there's less emotional friction. You were a threat to his fantasy because you were real. The new narcissistic partner is not a threat because she also lives in the fantasy. They build a shared fantasy, a bubble where they are the kings and queens, and the rest of the world are envious commoners. This us against the world dynamic is extremely seductive to the pathological mind. However, this comfort comes at a very high price. The relationship is hollow. The moment one of them gets sick, loses their job, loses their looks, or needs real care, the contract is broken because the contract was about mirroring, not about care. And that's where we enter dangerous territory. Here we arrive at the second pillar, and this is where the illusion begins to crack. The Cold War for supply. Every narcissist needs narcissistic supply, attention, adoration, validation, or even fear, as if it were oxygen. In a relationship with an empath, the flow is unidirectional. You give the supply, he consumes. You give yourself, he sucks. But what happens when you have two suckers and no giver? What happens when two vampires try to bite each other's neck? There comes a point in the relationship where the idealization phase ends, routine sets in, and the insatiable need to be the center of attention resurfaces. In a relationship between two narcissists, there's a constant, veiled or explicit, competition over who is the star. If one of them shines brighter, the other feels envy. Remember, the narcissist is inherently envious. They cannot feel genuine joy for their partner's success. If the partner gets promoted, the narcissist feels they've been left behind. This generates what we call narcissistic collision. They start competing for everything. Who earns more? Who is more attractive? Who do the children love more? Who is right in the argument? Fights between two narcissists are legendary and frightening. Why? Because neither of them has the capacity to back down, apologize, or see the other's side. There is no, "Let's resolve this for the sake of the relationship." There is only, "I need to win so I won't be annihilated." In this scenario, the dynamic often stabilizes in an unhealthy form of psychological sadomasochism. Generally, the narcissist with stronger or more psychopathic traits dominates, and the other submits strategically or becomes a covert victim within the relationship. The loser narcissist in this ego battle doesn't necessarily leave. They stay, accumulating resentment, cheating behind the other's back, subtly sabotaging the partner, or spending the other's money. It becomes a war of attrition. You might look at them at a dinner and see them smiling, but under the table, they are kicking each other. They know exactly where to hurt the other, because they know their own wounds. They use the partner's insecurities as ammunition with surgical precision, and unlike you, who were confused and cried trying to understand, why is he doing this? The narcissistic partner knows what is happening, and they retaliate. The cycle of abuse is not abuser-victim, it is abuser-abuser. It's a game of chess where the pieces are made of dynamite. If it is so bad, if it is a war of egos, why don't they break up? Why do these marriages often last for years or even a lifetime? Here comes the third, most counterintuitive pillar of all, the parasitic symbiosis and necessary triangulation. Two narcissists alone on a desert island would end up killing each other or dying of boredom. They need third parties for the relationship to function. Since they cannot extract quality emotional supply from each other, as both are empty wells, they seek this supply outside but keep the structure of the relationship intact. They use third elements to stabilize the marriage. Who are these third parties? Children. Often, The children become the sources of supply. One child is the golden child, an extension of their ego. The other is the scapegoat, where they dump their frustrations. The couple unites to control or live through the children. Lovers. Cheating is extremely common in double narcissism couples. Often there is a tacit, don't ask, don't tell, agreement. They seek sexual adoration outside, but maintain the social status of the marriage. Common enemies. Nothing unites two narcissists more than shared hatred. They can spend hours talking bad about ex-partners, you, neighbors, co-workers. This projected hatred acts as a glue that keeps the parties together. They feel superior together by diminishing others. They stay together because separation would be a public failure. Admitting that the perfect couple failed is a narcissistic injury they avoid at all costs. Furthermore, divorce between two narcissists is a nuclear war of total annihilation, financial and reputational, and they often prefer the known misery of the marriage over the risk of being exposed in court by someone who knows all their dirty secrets. Therefore, the longevity of this relationship is not a sign of health, love, or success. It is a sign of an effective parasitic symbiosis. They are like two organisms that have learned to feed off the surrounding environment so they don't have to devour each other completely. Now, take a deep breath and bring this reality into your heart. When you see the narcissist with another person who seems just like him, and the doubt, did he change, arises, you need to remember what we just dissected. He hasn't changed. The dynamic has merely shifted from predator and prey to two predators negotiating territory. There is no love there. There is convenience. There is no intimacy. There is an image contract. There is no peace. There is a cold war covered by Instagram filters. You, with your empathy, your capacity to feel pain, to love, to give yourself, you were incompatible with him not because you were less, but because you were too human for such an artificial game. The happiness you think they have is a staged storefront. Inside the store, the inventory is empty. Do not envy his new partner. If she is also a narcissist, she is trapped in an ego battle that will never end. If she isn't, she is living the same nightmare you lived. Your freedom is your greatest trophy. Let them keep the mirror. You kept the reality, and it is only in reality that true life happens. In the description of this video, you will find a link to the only material you need to understand and re-signify what you went through. Feel free to leave your story, your vent, or even a suggestion for a topic for the next video in the comments below. Click on the suggested video on the screen and stay with me. Remember, you are light. Never forget to shine.